I always have asked that question. For me, it's something that I can't understand, because you cannot put in first place privatization or corporate interests or transboundary issues related to water in front of the necessity of recognizing the human right to water. But I would say that behind these abstentions, there were this kind of concerns. But the vast majority was so strong that they couldn't say, no, we're going to vote against. They just had to abstain. And that was, at the end, very important, because if a resolution passed without any vote against, in reality, the resolution has been approved by consensus under the UN rules.
So what is different from here on in, now that this resolution on the human right to water, and also add why sanitation?
And sanitation.
What is the significance of sanitation?
Well, now we're going to see the difference when the summit on the MDGs, the Millennium Development Goals, come in September, because there's going to be a review of, and we're going to discuss what we are going to do in order to accomplish these goals until 2015. And we have a very critical situation in relation to water. 1 of 8 citizens in the world doesn't have clean water. But the situation is even worse when it comes to sanitation, because 40% of the worldwide population doesn't have sanitation. And different presidents and governments are going to be here in New York. And the main discussion is, now we have recognized it, how much are we going to put on the table in relation to money, to efforts, to transfer of technology, in order really to make a change in this? Why do we highlight very much the issue of water? Because climate change is going to affect in a very severe way the access to water. For Africa, it will mean a strong desertification. So it's necessary to take all the measures now, or we're going to see a situation even worse than what we are seeing now.
We're talking to Ambassador Pablo Solón about the human right to water and sanitation. At the same time, in Bolivia, there is a conflict going on. I wanted to ask you about that, Ambassador. A coalition of some 6,000 people in the southern Bolivian mining area of Potosi have blocked off the area for over 10 days, cut all rail links to Chile, and launched a hunger strike. On Friday, they shut down the city's airfield, and some 100 tourists were stranded in the area. The demonstrators are calling for more investment by the Bolivian government in the lithium-rich area.
Hasta mañana. Lo que estamos pidiendo y con las notas estamos anticipando, entonces haremos.
If they fail to heed what we have asked for in the documents by tomorrow, we are going to blow up the high-tension lines that supply electricity to the San Cristobal mine. So production is stopped in the mines in southeast Potosi, like San Vicente and Chorloqui.
Can you respond to what he just said?
Well, yes, but the reason of the conflict that now is in Potosi is a conflict between borders, between 2 of the states, 2 of the provinces inside Bolivia. It is really something that the government is trying to solve, because there's a conflict between the limits of one of the province and the other province. In relation to the other issue that has to do with the interview, the issue of lithium, it's the first time that we want to develop and to industrialize our lithium, but for our country, not to be exploited and exported as raw material to other places, and so we just see almost no added value being developed inside Bolivia. So the main task that we have is how we develop an industry related to lithium inside our country, because the history of Bolivia and the history of Potosi, where those protests are taking place, was a city that 400 years ago was bigger than London. But why you have it like that? Because even though it had a mountain that was full of silver, all of that silver went to Europe and nothing remained in the country. Now we have the opportunity to change the situation in Bolivia.
Meaning you not only want to make the lithium, you want to make the electric cars,
yeah,
you want to make the lithium batteries, you want to make the drug? It's also the drug, the lithium, right?
Yes, all the products related that what one can produce from lithium. That is our challenge. The history of Bolivia and of, I would say, many of the developing countries is that for centuries we have only been suppliers of raw materials.
This report that came out, I mean, you have been called the Saudi Arabia of lithium.
Yeah.
But now this report has come out that says Afghanistan, you have more than half the world's supply. And Afghanistan may surpass Bolivia. Is this true?
I don't know, because those reports, we don't have concrete evidence. But if another country has that, it's very good. I mean, why should we always think I must be the only country that have this? I have to be the only country that can make profit out of something. I mean, if you have a natural resource that is very important, think how you are going to use it responsible, not think how you're going to benefit for your own profit. That is what we think we should change, really, because that is the way things have been moved until now, and that is why we are in this dramatic situation. That is why we're promoting a new kind of relation with our natural resources. They are not natural resources. We call them, they are our Mother Earth. We should try to look and seek balance with the whole system and not try to think, oh, I have lithium, oh, I have gold, or I have water, how am I going to exploit it, how I'm going to make profit out of it. The question is how I'm going to live in harmony with nature.
Ambassador Solón, I want to thank you very much for being with us. Bolivia's ambassador to the United Nations, Pablo Solón. You can go to our website at democracynow.org to see our week's coverage from Cochabamba when Bolivia led the People's Conference on Climate Change and the Rights of Mother Earth, Pachamama in the indigenous language. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. When we come back, we look at developments in Latin America. Stay with us.